Good morning class. This is class 9th, subject science, chapter number 13, that is why do we fall ill? It's your lecture number 5. Now in this lecture, I would be discussing the summary of the whole chapter. So let's start. Health. What is health? Health is a state of physical, mental and social well-being. Now the question arises, what are the conditions necessary for good health? So the conditions necessary for good health are: number 1, good physical and social environment; number 2, good economic conditions; number 3, social equality and harmony. So these are the conditions which are required or necessary for good health. Now, what does these conditions include? Good physical and social environment includes clean surroundings, good sanitation, proper garbage disposal and clean drinking water. Clear? Next is good economic conditions. Now everyone wants to have a nutritious food, right? Now for earning to have nutritious food, we should have a good job opportunity in order to lead a healthy life. So this comes under good economic conditions. What does it include? It includes job opportunities for all, for earning to have nutritious food and to lead a healthy life. The last is social equality and harmony. Now students, in order to remain healthy, we need to be happy, right? But if we mistreat with each other or misbehave with each other, that condition we cannot be happy or healthy. So social equality and harmony are necessary for a healthy and peaceful life. Now, what are the differences between healthy and disease-free? Healthy means it is a state of physical, mental and social well-being. Disease-free is a state of absence from disease. Healthy refers to the individual, physical and social environment. Disease-free refers only to the individual. In healthy, the individual has good health. In disease-free, the individual may have good health or poor health. Healthy, they are spread through some agencies. What are those agencies? Air, food, contact, insects, etc. And in disease-free, they do not spread through any agency. So this was the difference between healthy and disease-free. Now, next topic is types of disease. What are the different types of disease? There are various types of disease. The first classification is acute disease and chronic disease, and the second classification is infectious or non-infectious disease. So I have categorized those two classifications in one common category. Okay? Acute disease, chronic disease, infectious or communicable disease, non-infectious or non-communicable disease. Now let's study one by one in detail. First is acute disease. What are acute disease? These are the disease which last only for a short period of time. Second, it does not have long-term effects on human health. For example, cold or common cold, one and the same thing, cough, typhoid, etc. For example, you are suffering from cold, right? You get fine within a week or so, right? So it is lasting for a short period of time. Second thing, it is not causing long-term effects on human health, right? So this is a acute disease. Are you clear about this? Now next is chronic disease. That is the opposite of acute disease. So what is chronic disease? These are the disease which last for long period of time. Second, it has long-term drastic effects on human health. Example, elephantiasis, cancer, tuberculosis. Tuberculosis means TB. So these are the various examples of chronic disease. Now you can see the pictures where the person is suffering from a disease, elephantiasis. Now in this elephantiasis disease, what happens? The person's leg, it gets swollen, right? It is getting swollen. So this disease, it is lasting for a long period of time. And you can see it is a very huge drastic effects on the health. So that's why elephantiasis is a chronic disease. Cancer is also a chronic disease. For example, skin cancer, breast cancer, they are chronic disease because they last for a long period of time and they have a drastic effects on health. And tuberculosis, that is also a chronic disease. So are you clear about acute disease and chronic disease? You can write the differences clearly now. Now next comes infectious or communicable disease. Now the name indicates communicable. Communicable means which can be communicated, means which can be spread. So what are infectious disease? Disease which spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, vectors, physical contact or sexual contact. So those are called as infectious disease. Now what are the examples? Common cold, chicken pox, measles, typhoid, cholera, malaria, AIDS, tuberculosis. So these are infectious or communicable disease. The next classification is non-infectious or non-communicable disease. Just the opposite. Name indicates non-communicable, means not communicated, means not spread. So what is the definition? Disease which are not spread from an infected person to a healthy person. What are the examples? Beriberi, rickets, scurvy, night blindness, diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure. So these are non-infectious or non-communicable disease. Now you can write the difference between these two easily. Okay. Now the question arises, what is the cause of infectious disease? What are the causes? Pathogens like virus, bacteria, fungi, protozoans or worms. These are one of the cause of disease, right? Second is poor health and undernourishment. Okay. Third is malfunctioning of body parts. Fourth is environmental pollution. And fifth, that is very important point, genetic disorder. So these are the cause of infectious disease. Now, what are infectious agents? Agents means carrier. So the agents which cause infectious disease, they are called pathogens. So what are infectious agents? The agents which cause infectious disease, and those agents, they are given a name called pathogens. Now what are the examples of those infectious agents or pathogens? Viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoans or worms. These are pathogens or infectious agents which cause infectious disease. Now next topic comes, what are the various diseases caused by several infectious agents? Now I have made a table for you people. Serial number, infectious agents, then disease. Now you can write down the infection agents, bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoans or worms. Now in the last column, that is disease, you will have to mention what are the disease caused by a specific infectious agent. For example, virus. Viruses are responsible for common cold, influenza, measles, mumps, chickenpox, AIDS, hepatitis B, etc. Next is bacteria. Bacteria cause infectious disease such as cholera, typhoid, tuberculosis, tetanus, anthrax, food poisoning, etc. You are very clear with food poisoning. Whenever you eat some food that is poisoned, means that becomes poisoned when it is kept either for last few days, and you visit a doctor. The doctor says that it is food poisoning. So how that food poisoning occurred? It occurred due to the invasion of the bacteria on that food which you were eating. Right? So bacteria are responsible for food poisoning. It is very clear. Next is fungi. Fungi, they cause skin infections. Protozoans. Protozoans are responsible for malaria, Kala Azar. Kala Azar means black fever. Next is amoebic dysentery or amoeboisis and sleeping sickness. Now the last infection agent is worms. Worms, they cause intestinal infection, means the infection in the intestine, or elephantiasis. Elephantiasis I discussed with you right now, that is caused by worms. So, are you clear about the various diseases which are caused by several infectious agents? So, you will have to learn it. Now the question arises, why is it so important to think of these categories of infectious agents? Why is it important? For example, if we consider the case of antibiotics. What are antibiotics? Antibiotics are the medicines that inhibit or kill the growth of microbes or microorganisms. So, what does the antibiotics do? The antibiotics, they commonly block the biochemical pathways which are important for bacteria. Right? So, they are blocking the pathways. Now, for example, bacteria, they make a cell wall in order to protect themselves. Right? They are building the cell wall. Now, the antibiotic penicillin. Penicillin is the very famous antibiotic. What does this antibiotic do? It blocks those processes of the bacteria that help in building the cell wall. Right? Means bacteria was building the cell wall. Now, what does the antibiotic do? These antibiotics, they block those processes which help in building the cell wall by the bacteria. So, as a result, the growing bacteria, they become unable to make cell walls and they die easily. They are not able to build the cell walls because they are blocked by antibiotics. So, as a result, what they do? They die. And this is why we are studying various classification or the categories of the infectious agents. Now, next topic is means of spread of infectious disease. Means how does the infectious disease spread? It is either spread through air, water, or through vectors or through sexual contact. Now first is airborne disease, means the disease which are spread through air. What are the examples of airborne disease? Common cold, pneumonia, tuberculosis. Now next is waterborne disease. Waterborne disease are the disease which are spread by drinking uncontaminated water. For example, cholera, amoeboisis. Next is sexually transmitted disease, means the disease which are spread through the sexual contact. And what are the examples? Syphilis and AIDS. The last is through vectors. Vectors are responsible for the spread of infectious disease like malaria. Now what is the vector of malaria? It is Anopheles mosquito. So you have to draw this table and you have to learn this also. These are the various means by which the infectious disease spread. Now, the most famous disease that is still right now, AIDS. What is the full form of AIDS? The full form of AIDS is Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome. Now this AIDS is not a contagious disease. Means it does not spread by casual contacts or physical contacts. For example, we shake hands, we hug each other, anyone coughs or sneezes. We are here in a crowded transport. We are sharing towels, we are sharing utensils. So through these such contacts are basically called as casual contacts or physical contacts, right? So through such physical or casual contacts, the AIDS disease is not transmitted. It is transmitted through sexual contact, means through the sexual organs. So are you clear about AIDS? One more thing, AIDS. It can be transferred to the baby when the mother is infected by AIDS during the pregnancy period. So this was about AIDS. Very important topic. Now I discussed about vectors. So what are vectors? Vectors are the intermediate organisms causing the spread of disease causing agents from an infected person to a healthy person. The common vectors, they are mosquitoes. Everyone knows mosquito. You might have seen at your homes they fly, right? So in various species of the mosquito, the females, they are very famous. Why? Because the females, they feed on the blood. Yes, they feed on the blood. Why they feed on the blood? Because that blood of us, it serves as a nutritious food for that female Anopheles mosquito. And why does it needs blood? It needs blood in order to lay mature eggs. Right? So it is feeding on the blood of us in order to lay eggs. So these mosquitoes, after feeding on the blood of animals or the humans, they transfer disease from one person to the next person. So what is the example I have written? Females Anopheles mosquitoes transmit many diseases like malaria when they feed on the blood of animals and humans. Very common example. So what is a vector of malaria? Females Anopheles mosquito. Now the next topic is organ specific and tissue specific manifestation. Now you students know that the disease causing microbes, they have entered the body through the different means, like through air, water, vector, or through the sexual contact, right? Now the question arises, where do these microbes go when they have entered in our body? Because the body is very large as compared to the body or the size of the microbes. So where do these microbes go in our body? The answer depends on the point of entry, means at which point they are entering. For example, the disease causing microbes, they enter the body by different means and they go to the different organs and different tissues. The case 1 I am taking. Suppose if the microbe enters through the nose. They are entering through the nose. So they are most likely to go to the lungs. So the bacteria which cause tuberculosis of the lungs. Right? Second case is if the microbes they enter through the mouth. If they are entering through the mouth, they are most likely to go either in the gut or in the liver. If they are going in the gut, they will be causing typhoid. If they are going in the liver, they will be causing jaundice. Third case is the virus which causes AIDS. It has entered the body through the sexual organs, right, during the sexual contact, and it spreads through the lymph to all the parts of the body and damage the immune system. That I have discussed during the topic when I was discussing AIDS. AIDS is a disease which is transmitted through the sexual contact. So it is spreading through all the parts of the body and thus it is damaging the immune system. The fourth case, virus which cause Japanese encephalitis. What is the other name of this? Brain fever. It enters the body through the mosquito bite and it goes and infects the brain. Means when a mosquito bites, whenever this kind of mosquito bites, this virus, it will enter the body, it will go and will infect the brain. So the brain is infecting. So what is the result? Brain fever. So are you clear about this? It depends upon the point of entry, where it is entering. Now the next topic is principle of treatment. The treatment of the infectious disease consists of two steps. Number one, to reduce the effects of disease, that is symptoms. Second, to kill the microbes which cause that disease. So these are the two steps. First step is to reduce the effects of disease. Suppose you are suffering from fever, right? So you take medicines in order to bring down the fever, or you are asked to go for a sleep. So what we are doing? We are reducing the symptoms of the disease. We are conserving our energy. Okay, so this was the first step. Now students, think yourself. If the symptoms are reduced, will the microbes, will the disease causing microbes, they will be vanished? No, these microbes, they will still be persisting. So the question arises, how to treat those microbes? We need to kill them. So how to kill the microbes? Either by the take of antibiotics or the drugs. What are antibiotics? Antibiotics are the medicines that inhibits or kills the growth of microorganisms. So either by the intake of antibiotic or by the intake of drugs, the microbes are killed and thus the disease is cured. So these are the basically two steps for the principle of treatment of infectious disease. Now next comes principle of prevention. So what are the ways? There are two ways of the prevention of the infectious disease. They are general ways and specific ways. Now what are the general ways of prevention? Public hygiene. It is very important for the prevention of the infectious disease. Second, proper and sufficient food for everyone. It will make people healthy to resist infection. Means whenever we are taking a balanced diet, so we will remain healthy, right? If we are not taking healthy and nutritious food, we will fall ill very soon. So proper and sufficient food is very necessary in order to remain healthy, in order to resist any infection or disease. Third, airborne disease, they can be prevented by living in the conditions that are not crowded. So we should not live in such conditions which are overcrowded, which are too much crowd. Third or fourth point, waterborne disease, they can be prevented by providing safe drinking water. Yes, very most important point. If we are drinking contaminated water, so what will happen? Various microorganisms will enter our body, right? So these microorganisms, they will give rise to various disease. So we should always drink safe and uncontaminated water. Okay. The last point is vector-borne disease. They can be prevented by providing clean environment. So it is necessary to maintain a clean and hygienic environment in order to prevent the spread of infectious disease. So these are general ways of prevention, or we can say the precautions which are required to stop the spread of infectious disease. Okay. Now the last is specific ways of prevention. The specific way to prevent infectious disease is immunization by taking vaccines. Now the question arises, what are vaccines? Vaccines are the substances that provide immunity from various infectious diseases like tetanus, diphtheria, whooping cough, measles, polio, etc. So how these vaccines work? Suppose there is an infectious microbe. It is entering in our body. Okay. Now our body has an immune system which will fight against that infectious microbe. Right. So it will kill the microbe and it will remember that. Now in the next time when the microbe it re-enters the body, what will the immune system do? The immune system it will respond more vigorously. How it will respond? Vaccines. The vaccines they will mimic the infectious microbe and they will strengthen our immune system and it will protect our body from the infectious disease. So are you clear about the specific ways of prevention? This was the last topic. Now I have covered each and everything of this chapter and the summary. So if you have any doubt you can go through the summary. So prevention is better than cure. So class, assignment 1 of chapter number 13, it will be given on 6th May. Assignment 2 of same chapter, it will be given on 7th May. And test will be conducted of this chapter on 9th May. So be ready. Thank you class.